Coming to paperback and e-readers everywhere, E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewoman in this action-packed, all-new E-Steam series adventure. Pre-order your copy of E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman on Amazon.com today.
Will Smith's finances are taking an economic hit now that he's dealing with the fallout from slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. Now, last Sunday at the Oscars, your Will Smith caused a firestorm of controversy when he stormed up to the stage to slap comedian Chris Rock after he made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, talking about how she could star in G.I. Jane 2. Now, your Jada Pinkett took offense to this joke and gave Will Smith a look, and your Will Smith then stormed up the stage and then slapped your Chris Rock. And since then, your now Best Actor Oscar winner is now dealing with the fallout from that slap, and recently was forced to resign from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And after resigning from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, your Will Smith is now seeing several projects that were considered to be profitable for him being put on the back burner, and some of them practically being delayed. Now, Netflix had a director, David Leitch, who was going to work with Will Smith on a film, Fast and Loose, but that project has been put on hold, and your David Leitch is now moving to start production on Fall Guy instead with Ryan Gosling. And your Will Smith was supposed to start working on Bad Boys 4 and Karate Kid 2 for Sony, but both of those projects have now been delayed. And your Will Smith also had a project with Apple called Emancipation, a slave movie, but this film, which was already in post-production and just about to be done and ready for a 2022 release later this year, is now being delayed as well. Now, all of these delays are major hits on Will Smith's wallet because many of these projects were in different stages of production. Now, this film with David Leitch, this film was going to cost Will Smith some major money because this is a project that has been greenlit and was practically ready to go. So your Will Smith is going to be losing out on a payday in the short term on this film, and he had just gotten 40 pages of the Bad Boys 4 script, and the Karate Kid 2 project was on its way. So there were several projects that he was going to take major hits on, but the biggest hit he's going to take as related to his finances is on this Emancipation project, because all of the money has practically been spent on this film, and Will is one of the executive producers, I believe, on this project. So he's taking a major hit because this Emancipation project has practically been shot and has been in post-production. And every day a project like this gets delayed, this is money coming out of the producer's pocket, and all of that money is money your Will Smith is losing right now. And it's looking like he's losing a lot to defend the honor of your Jada Pinkett, who showed how dishonorable she was by going out here and directing her husband to go out and slap Chris Rock at the Oscars, the biggest night in entertainment for Hollywood and the biggest night for her husband, who was supposed to win Best Actor for his great performance in King Richard. So your Jada Pinkett, because she was in her feelings about a joke, wound up costing her husband not only one of the great moments of his life at the Academy Awards that he had been working so hard for 20 years, but she's now also costing him his professional reputation because he's forced to resign from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and he's also having several of his projects delayed. So your Will Smith is taking a major hit trying to defend the honor of the dishonorable Jada Pinkett, who was not looking out for her husband's best interest at the Academy Awards, No, all your Jada Pinkett was thinking about was her feelings and her ego, and she could not put her husband's best interest at first. No, all she was thinking about was making the night all about herself, and as she made this night all about herself, her husband is the one who is now dealing with the consequences because she could not go out here and stand up for her husband on the biggest night of his life. Now, many people would say that it's the man's job to protect the woman, but I say that it is something that both partners do. Now, the man may physically protect his wife from attackers who are a threat to his wife, but it is up to the woman to go out here and protect her husband's image and his reputation when he's acting emotional. No, a good wife, when she's out here, she understands that her man's behavior reflects on her, and because she understands her man's behavior reflects on her, she wants to make sure that his image remains strong. And your Jada Pinkett really was not thinking about Will's image because she didn't care about Will Smith at all. No, your Jada Pinkett, after her entanglements with August Alsina, no longer respected Will Smith, and because she didn't respect Will Smith anymore, she wanted to go wage a campaign to tear down Will Smith, where she emasculated him months ago on her Red Table talk show, where she talked about this entanglement with her son's friend August Alsina, and then talked about how your Will Smith could not sexually satisfy her. And all of these statements were statements designed to hurt Will Smith. And as a result, we started to see that Will Smith, the star who played the action hero in many films like Independence Day and Men in Black in the 90s, was an emasculated beta male, and that this emasculated beta male was not a man who was in charge of his home, and that this man was someone who basically wound up being humiliated by his wife. And this humiliation by his wife at the Oscars has caused Will Smith to lose face, and as a result of him losing face in the public eye, what has happened to your Will Smith is he has wound up in a place where people in business circles no longer respect him. Now, some people want to say that many of these producers are delaying these projects because of the slap, but I believe that many of these producers are not just delaying these projects because of the slap, they're also delaying them because they have seen a new side to Will Smith, and that side is showing them that he is not the respectable man that they should see as somebody they should respect, because image is very important for a man, and if a man does not present himself in a way where he shows that he should be respected, people are not going to go out here and stand with that man. So your Will Smith, he's showing the world that his house is not in order, and when he shows people that his house is not in order, they have lost respect for him, and once they lose respect for a man like a Will Smith, they don't trust him. And that's what's happened here with Will Smith as related to many of these film projects. Many of these producers no longer trust Will Smith because they see that his house is not in order, his wife is not in order, his children are out of control, and they see that your Jada Pinkett is the one practically running things, and the way she's running things is causing chaos, and they can't have that chaos because when you have projects that cost millions and even hundreds of millions of dollars, the last thing a producer wants to deal with is a scandal, because a scandal is something that could wind up costing them box office and could wind up making the film become a box office bomb. So that's why these producers are delaying these projects in different stages of production, because they have too much to lose as related to the optics around their films. And one of the things they don't want to deal with is a actor who is so out of control that they wind up having to deal with all of these different scandals revolving around them, and then having those scandals cost them money at the box office, or because this man just cannot go out here and get things in order. And that's one of the things every man has to understand about being out here, is that you have to have your house in order if you're going to do business. Because if people see that you cannot have your house in order, then they can't trust you to go out here and do business with them. Because that's why it's important for you to protect your image, because your image is a representation of you. And that's why it's important to have the right woman at your side, because the right woman will understand how important your image is, because she understands that when your image is strong, people will see you as respectable, and when you get respect, they will trust you with to give you opportunities like jobs, and they will trust you in high level positions. Now, your Will Smith, he was elevated to the highest position, unfortunately, because he chose a low seed female like a Jada Pinkett. He wound up having everything come crashing down because this female, on the biggest night of his life, the defining moment of his career, she went out here and put her feelings above the marriage, put her feelings above the image of the family, and wound up tarnishing Will Smith's greatest night at the Oscars. And she also went out here and made it hard for anybody to see all of the great work of the black producer who put together a fantastic Oscar show. She overshadowed the Oscar Will was going to win for portraying one of the greatest fathers in history, Richard Williams, who went out here and prepared his daughters to become great tennis champs. She went out here and took away from Venus and Serena's Williams night, where they made this film to honor their father. And she also overshadowed Samuel L. Jackson, who was getting an honorary Oscar. All of these black people wound up having their night ruined because of Jada Pinkett Smith's narcissism and her arrogance. And this woman went out here, and now we're seeing that she's now led to her husband losing hundreds of millions of dollars, because your Will Smith was a $20 million star at one time, and on some of these projects he was actually losing money because he had financed this emancipation film. So Will Smith is losing lots of money, and he's losing lots of money because your Jada Pinkett put her ego in front of your Will Smith's business. And your Will Smith, because he was a weak man, allowed his wife to go out here and cost him lots of business, because he didn't understand how a wife's reflection of him reflects on his business. Because if your wife cannot go out here and take a joke as related to a Chris Rock, she's going to cost you lots of money, because there are consequences for actions. And all of this economic fallout just is what happens when you have the wrong woman at your side, because that wrong woman, she's not thinking about the long term. All she's thinking about is the short term of her feelings. And when your Jada Pinkett went out here and instructed your Will Smith to go out here and slap Chris Rock, she showed us that she's only deserving of a solo cup at either the Source Awards, or as I see it, she deserves a red solo cup at the family cookout. That's the only place you can take a Jada Pinkett Smith, because she doesn't know how to act in a high place like the Oscars, where a woman of character would have just sat there and navigated through their emotions. And if she saw her husband going up to try to do something, she would have protected her husband's image by saying, "No, honey, we don't do this here. This is your night, and we're not going to let a little thing like a joke go out here and ruin your night. That's what a woman who protects her man does. But your Jada Pinkett didn't want to protect her man because she does not love her man. She does not respect her man. No, she loves the fantasy around your Tupac Shakur. And because your Tupac Shakur is dead, she wants to go out here and use Will Smith for his resources. But now she's tired of your Will Smith and she wants to go out here and destroy your Will Smith. And she went out here and practically started laying down the bombs to destroy your Will Smith with the table talks, and then led up to the explosive charge that wound up with Will Smith at the Oscars. And she's having a good time destroying Will Smith, but sadly, Will Smith cannot see that he's a man in crisis, and he can't see that this woman has cost him so much. She has cost him his image, she has cost him his reputation, and now she's costing him money and hurting his brand. And she's sitting here talking about healing, never once taking responsibility for hurting this man, and never taking responsibility for participating in behavior that does harm to this man. So your Jada Pinkett is sitting here disrespecting this man, and she's sitting there not understanding the long-term consequences of her actions. She's sitting there gloating in her feelings about humiliating and emasculating this man, not understanding she just did long-term damage to her family's wealth at this point. Because yes, your Will Smith is a rich man, but these behaviors she participated in hurt the family's wealth, and the wealth is the ability to generate tangible assets that create money. So your Will Smith was financing that film, Emancipation, which was a wealth building asset, and your Jada Pinkett wound up costing Will Smith wealth, and that wealth is something your Jaden and your Willow are going to lose, all because your Jada got in her feelings about her lack of respect for Will Smith. And what this woman has done has brought Will Smith to a crust of bread. And that's what the Proverbs warned us about this kind of woman. Your King Solomon warned us all about these kinds of women many years ago, these kinds of wicked women. And we see the Proverbs from the Word of God brought to truth right in front of us about your Jada Pinkett. This woman has brought Will Smith to a crust of bread, and we see that he's lost all of his money, all because he chose the wrong woman. A kind of woman that, again, if you read the Proverbs, it talks all about this kind of woman and why you should not get involved with this kind of woman. Because the only place you can take a woman like a Jada Pinkett is the streets, and the only people who can deal with a Jada Pinkett is a dude from the street. This is why her fantasy, her dream man, Tupac, did not ever try to marry her, because he understood that he could not build wealth with this kind of woman, and that's why he got involved with Quincy Jones's daughter instead of Jada, because he understood that you cannot build with a female who lives to tear you down. Because the same way she's tearing Will down, she would have torn Tupac down if he were alive. And that's why your Tupac never got involved with your Jada Pinkett, because she's not a woman who is worthy of being a wife. She's only worthy of being one of these types of females that you go out here and find at the red and white chicken place, and you buy her a two-piece chicken dinner, drop the skid mark thong, and then be on your way. If she's only the kind of woman that the whoremonger male would deal with, because she's the kind of guy that she kind of likes, and she didn't even like Tupac when he was a square dude. She only liked him because of his thug image, and the only kind of guy that she likes are thugs, and the only man who really would have dealt with her are the thug type guys, and they were only going to deal with her for a smash and dash. But Will Smith, sadly, because he was a beta male, was trying to build with this woman, not understanding this is not a woman that you build with, because this woman will actively live to tear everything down that you try to build. And that's what your Jada Pinkett Smith has done with this whole Oscars debacle. Everybody wants to talk about the slap, but the whole thing was, if it wasn't for, the woman he was involved with, he wouldn't have been in that position where he wound up taking this hit as related to his career. Now, if you want to learn how to avoid winding up in situations like Will Smith wound up in, you can pick up my book, The Misadventures of Captain Save-'em, on Amazon.com in Kindle format. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. And if you also want to learn about why guys like Will Smith wind up in these destructive paradigms, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. And if you want to learn why women like Jada Pinkett Smith wind up single for the rest of their lives eventually, because Will Smith is definitely going to have to divorce her in order to save his face, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. Sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.